could be agreed within days. Well, with me now is Mohamed Taha from BBC Arabic. Mohamed, good morning. Tell us more about the ceasefire or lack thereof.
Of course, the situation now in the negotiations that there are points the two parts cannot agree on. These two points are the full withdrawal from Gaza and the permanent ceasefire. And apparently the Israeli delegation that is in Doha does not have a mandate to agree on full withdrawal from Gaza. So now the Americans are trying to mediate between the two parts and to make them agree on the parts that are related to the hostages and the prisoners and the humanitarian situation and the aid, and delay the part that is related to the withdrawal from Gaza and the permanent ceasefire until something would happen and make either party a little bit make their position easier.
You mentioned the humanitarian situation. As these ceasefire talks continue, obviously the picture on the ground remains bleak. Give us a sense of the last 24 hours.
Yeah, the humanitarian situation is really dire in Gaza at the moment. I just got acknowledged of reports with the UNICEF saying that there are 6,000 children are suffering from acute malnutrition, and also the aid distribution system in Gaza still something that controversial, as there are only 4 points of distributing points through the American and Israeli pact company, and the UN is trying to convince Israel to return back to the old system, which is allowing the UN agencies to deliver aid.
Meanwhile, not far away in the West Bank, there's been criticism by the American embassy in Jerusalem of violence there.
Of course, because in the last few hours there is an American citizen with Palestinian origin was killed by Israeli forces, and this is part of the violence in the West Bank that sometimes is initiated either by the settlers in the West Bank or by the Israeli army that is trying to do incursions in the West Bank to try to hunt some militants in the West Bank.
The US doesn't often criticize its ally, Israel. Has there been any response from Israeli officials to these complaints by the American embassy?
Not at the moment, but what's normally happening in this case is that the Israeli forces would say that they will investigate what happened and try to understand whether what happened has happened by the Israeli forces or by the settlers, what are the circumstances, how these people caused threat or caused any worry for the forces to lead to these conclusions. But the situation in the West Bank is very fragile. So the difference, maybe the only difference between Gaza and the West Bank, that Israeli forces does not use aeroplanes or heavy military vehicles there, but the same incursions, same trying to get into the militants, and the same evacuation orders. It's a little bit chaotic also on the West Bank.
Okay, Mohamed Taha from BBC Arabic. Mohamed, thank you.
Thank you, Arjun.